Good morning, everyone. Thank you for coming to the show and supporting us. It's been an interesting road, fairly rocky and certainly uphill on a few occasions. I've had a very interesting month and a very interesting of this week. You may have noticed in the press that the router company Dratec were attacked at a guess by some government-sponsored, and I'll put in quotes, most probably China, and they've not had a very good time. So for the last 3 days, I've been fixing a lot of people's routers. So my apologies, I'm a little bit unprepared, as well as trying to organise the show with Andrew. So I'm going to lead with just a few bits of information about RISC OS developments and Orpheus Internet. And then I have been told there are some perilous questions that are waiting to be asked to me. We're having a sort of a fireside chat, or maybe as they would call it, you can roast me. But here we go. So for Orpheus Internet, it's been a busy end of last year and start to this year. We now have up and running 12 hardware servers that are all ARM-based. In most instances, they're Raspberry Pi 5s. And we're running all of our server systems on that. We've now managed to spread things out. So if we were to have a problem with a particular server, although our services might slow down a little bit, they will continue running. So we've spread things out. So in the event of hardware failure, which is a weight off my mind, because the old way of doing it, of having lots of virtual machines on one piece of hardware, is obviously quite fraught, and you wonder what's going to happen if there is a problem. Same thing applies when we have to keep these things running when there are power cuts, and we do have 1 or 2 a year at our particular location. It's lovely to live there, but we are a little bit out in the sticks, so power can be an issue. But just on their UPSs alone now, we've managed to increase the time by a factor of 3. So we're more resilient, and we can carry on providing to any of our customers here a better service. I need to speak up a bit more. That's it? Okay. Sorry about that. Someone at the back was saying they couldn't hear me. So that's where Orpheus is going. And you can obviously ask me questions about what we're up to. We're going to try and introduce some more services for people if we can over the coming year. If you want to do hosting with your own virtual server, something that we haven't been able to do for, I think, more than a decade, because it was really based more on hardware and things. One of the plus points, I'm sure you're all aware about ARM chips, something that everyone goes on about, and we're all feeling the pinch, is how much power they use. To give you an example, at the moment, the 2 big machines that we're moving away from, they consume 500 watts of power, 24/7, 365. So you can imagine our electricity bill is, especially during the winter when we've got our heating running and we've got the lights on a lot more, it starts to get rather high. In comparison, the ARM-based servers run at 5.5 watts each. So we're going to be replacing a 500 watt system, I reckon somewhere around about 150 watts. So that's going to make Orpheus Internet a little bit more profitable, which makes me less stressed and much more friendly on the phone when you ring me up to ask and say that there's a problem. So that's Orpheus. So RISC OS developments that you're most probably much more interested in. We released at the back end of last year a solid version of Iris, the web browser, which I hope most of you have downloaded and have been using. I've spoken to some people in the show already, and they seem to be fairly happy with it. We're really proud of Lee Knorr, who's the author. It's one person has done all of this for us, and we're really grateful to him. But we gave him a few more things before the show, and he's come back and answered some of these questions. Andrew was able to sort out a release based on a new server engine in. We've marked it as beta, so there's still the one we released last year, and there's also now this, if you like, next step on, but we're not going to call it a finished product, for a little while. It's going to be a beta, and we'll most probably keep on just reiterating that beta as Lee brings out more things that we can make use. But I know Andrew put that up. That should be available on the website now. So please go there and download it. Obviously, if you do find that there's an issue, if you go to a particular page, feed the information back to us. If it's a real killer one, as much information as you can give us. I do this step, that step, and then it completely freezes and then disappears off the icon bar. That sort of problem, it's a lot easier for us to hone in on rather than just saying, I go to this website and it all goes bang. Please do that. But again, also, if you're going and you're doing your banking and all of a sudden you suddenly find that a page isn't rendering properly, we're interested in that sort of problem as well, because sometimes that can help us with other things. But we can feed that all back. Obviously, if something's going bang, that's slightly higher on the list. If it's just a page isn't quite rendering properly, then we will have a look at it, but it will be slightly lower down the list. But you're always welcome to hassle Andrew and me in a nice way. If you could manage that, we would really appreciate it. So that's Iris. Pinboard 2 has had another update, and I believe that was put up on the website Tuesday or Wednesday this week, and that should, as far as we're concerned at the moment, that's going to be the solid current release. If you would like to have a look at it, come on my stand. I believe I've got that running on my Pinebook Pro. It's again, it's more stability. One or two items have been improved and changed. But you'll have much more fun playing with it yourself. So please do download it and enjoy that. The TCP/IP stack, as always, is being worked on and is being reiterated. As we add more things to the network manager, that's at the moment where we tend to then do a new OBSD release where the net manager is combined in with the TCP/IP stack. We did want to have one for the show, but it didn't quite get there in time, so I apologise. There should be one coming out in the next week or so, but currently there's a bug in it which is not very nice, so we've had to put a hold on that. But that should be available fairly soon. I think there was a compiling issue there, but not enough time before the show, so that will be coming next. Now I think that brings us really effectively up to date. There's nothing new, I'm afraid, but maybe some of you have questions that might shed light onto what we're doing in the future, if that's the sort of question. So I'm going to lead with someone I know has a question for us, but after that I'll ask for a show of hands. But Alan, you said you had a question for me. I'm not sure which company it was for, but obviously both companies are fair game today.
Okay, this one's for Orpheus. I see that in about August this year, BT are going to start migrating us to digital fibre, etc. And I'm not decided whether to go that route or to use a SIM card in a router and go the mobile phone route. But I'd like to keep the bulk of the services with you. Does it make a difference which route I go?
Yes, it does make a difference. The question was, with the analogue turn-off that BT are doing across the country at various times throughout the year, but it sounds like for Alan towards September time, he would like to keep as many services with us as possible. What would be the best way to go? And so to answer your question, if you go the SIM route and you put in a cellular service and you have a router that will take care of that, the sensible thing is to look at the costs. They're usually more expensive than a landline, but depending on what services you can get at your location. And this obviously applies to everybody. Some of you will know this, some of you won't. But if you give me your postcode and your address, or you're an existing customer, I can go and have a look and say, great, I can do fibre to the premises for you because BT have got it in your area, and Orpheus services always have to go over BT lines with our providers. That's the perfect answer. You switch to fibre to the premises, and then when your analogue line dies, that's it. And we would turn off our service before then, otherwise we're billing you for two. But we would sort that all out for you. If you want to keep your analogue phone number, then you go across to the new service Voice over IP Protocol, or VoIP for short. And that simply means you get the opportunity to keep the number that you've had for 10, 20, 30. Please tick box to whatever is applicable to your age. If you want to keep that number. If you don't want to keep the number, then we can just turn the analogue off for you. That's it, end of story, and it's a saving on your bill. That's the ideal way of doing it, and with the fibre to the premises, you get the faster speeds up to 1 gigabyte. That's what we can currently offer you. On the other hand, there are some addresses that cannot have fibre to the premises because BT haven't got themselves into gear to do it. I wish they would. We'll give them a gentle kick. And then we are looking at doing things like SAGEA. Now, SAGEA is basically fibre to the cabinet, but without the analogue. That's all it is. It's no more complicated than that. So that still uses exactly your normal copper core lines. It's still affected in exactly the same way as fibre to the cabinet is currently for you. But again, we go to SAGEA, your analogue services stop, we switch you over, you go to VoIP if you wish to keep your number, or you just let it lapse. And you don't have to do VoIP with Orpheus. Obviously, Alan, you're saying you possibly want to. So if you're going to keep it, then the current price per month is £15, and there's an £18 charge to administrate getting the number across. So the VoIP side is a bit easier. Unfortunately, the way BT are now going with their increases every single year, that has finally come through to us, and I've actually had an answer from my supplier this year that, yes, every year they're going to put the prices up to us. So I apologise in advance to everyone, but at the moment they're keeping it to sort of £1 or £2, which is not too bad. But I'll be contacting any of my customers about that. Does that cover enough? So, does someone else have a question for me? Oh, this is going to be a very short talk.
I have not a question, but a comment on your thing. Last May, I went over to Warrington, and it seems to work perfectly happily. Thank you very much.
Thank you for the testimonial. Charles was saying, so I'll say it nice and loud in case you didn't hear, he moved over to a VoIP service with us last May, and it went very smoothly, and he hasn't had any problems since. I think that just about covers it. So you can get VoIP services, obviously, from other companies, and they do vary in price. As I say, ours is £15 a month, and that's roughly in the middle. Some people do it I've seen for £9, and other people do it more expensive. And again, talk to me about it. Have a look at what the competition are doing, because sometimes it doesn't cover this or it doesn't cover that. As far as I'm concerned, it's free phone calls to any UK number and any mobile UK-based number. We do not automatically activate overseas, but if you want to do that, the system that we're using at Orpheus is to give me £12 in advance, which I'll invoice you for, and then that sits as a credit on your account, and you just work your way down through it. Now, I know that one of my customers here today, yes, I can see Derek at the back there. He makes calls to his sister in Canada. He's had VoIP from us for more than a year, and so far he hasn't asked me to put any more money onto his international. We'll have to check that, Derek, just in case it's getting a bit low. Oh, she calls you more often. Oh, well, that's the best way of doing it. But so if Derek does need to call, though, he will just use it, and it will count down, and then at a certain point it'll say to him, oh, I can't make this call for you, so he'll pick up the phone to me, and I'll get that sorted for him. So that covers some of the VoIP. Yes?
You probably know that I'm not with your service yet, because I'm on Virgin Media. I had VoIP. I went to VoIP last year, which is no problem. The switchover was quite smooth, kept the same number. But my sister is in the situation that a lot of elderly people are, that they have an analog security service, which they would lose if they have to go to VoIP. Can you tell me what the state of play that is at the moment?
So, for anyone who didn't hear, Mr. McCartney's sister has a security system that she needs to use. I know other people have the little red buttons if they fall over so that they can call emergency services. The situation of moving to VoIP in that instance is that these companies need to sort out their own new box or new service that will work with VoIP, where it's based on the little red buttons and the box they have in the home. I have heard that one or two of the companies do have solutions for that now, but I couldn't tell you which ones, because obviously there are quite a few suppliers of that. They will be, I hope they will be working very hard to sort that out. The other thing that people do need to be aware of, whether they're using these if they are using these external boxes and a VoIP service, it depends on your internet. And the one thing that tends to kill internet and the router is if you have no power. So I know in some instances, I believe BT have finally taken the initiative to say that if they classify you as a vulnerable person, they will provide you with a battery backup system, so a UPS. Whether they're doing it free of charge or whether it's part of their service fee and it's all rolled in, I don't know. Again, we can provide that. Most people, if you're living in a non-rural, you're living in a town, that's a very rare occasion, but it can happen. So if you can have a mobile phone that does give you a signal, this comes back to you, Alan, that if you want to run things on cellular, you need to have a signal. No cellular company in their paperwork states that their cellular system will work inside a house. I didn't realise that. So that is something that you need to just be aware of if you are going to go for cellular, or a company says, oh, well, we'll switch you to our box that has a cellular service. You may need to have that checked out. So it could be it may take a little bit longer and it may be a bit more complicated. In your instance with your sister, if you want to bounce something off me, even if you're not having a service from me, I'm still happy to help and give you generic best advice that I can. And that applies to anyone here. If you've got a question, I will always be quite honest when I'm on the phone. If I've got time to chat, I know most of my customers. I will always have a chat with you. In fact, I'll gas far too much. On the other hand, if I am very, very busy, like I was this week, I was very, very short with everybody, and I had to say, look, thank you, you've got a problem, I've written it down, I'll come back to you as soon as I can. Or if I can fix it instantly, then obviously I would do. But I will always be honest. If you want to chat, great. I like to get to know people. It gets very lonely. You may or may not know that the geographic location of my office is separate from my house, which is good practice, because if the house gets struck with lightning, my office should be okay, because it's down the bottom of the garden. I have a very nice shed that's got double glazing windows, and it's all specced out quite nicely, but it is a shed at the bottom of the garden, so if I get fed up, I can always go outside and eat worms, as we would tell the children. But I will always do my best to help with that. Does anyone? Yes? Question from the back.
Are you involved in rules new space race, or are you going to carry on focusing on the browser and your current project?
So, am I involved in rules space race? I don't know that Rule are putting up a rocket to Mars. They're doing a moonshot. I am not part of that. I am unaware of that particular British endeavour. I hope we get to the moon first, but I don't think so. Do we have any other questions from anyone? No, none at all. Well, I think in that case, I'm not going to bore you by just standing here and telling you about Jack and the Beanstalk and the giants that he had to slay with his arm machine. I will just leave this one shorter, which will give you plenty of time to go back round. Please spend lots of money with the exhibitors. I know I have got one more thing for you. No one's asked me the question, but obviously this is a new location. Now, I hope that if you can give me a show of hands, were you able to find this hotel relatively, so I don't want specifics, but relatively easy? Would you give me a show of hands? Right, so that's good. Hopefully the website was fairly clear. Andrew and I have really done more than we've ever done for the Southwest show. It was easy with the Southwest show when it started because everyone knew where the Webbington was, and we had a gentle changeover to the Bristol. So I'm glad you could all find us here. I hope you approve of it. I think it's quite a nice space that we've got, and the hotel have been very helpful with the tables and getting the chairs out. So I'm certainly inclined to have it here again next year. That's very helpful if we have lots of people through the door, and I've got a full theatre here, so that's great. That's looking good. We have been asked about the timing for it. There's the official line is it's not as late as April, May, because that does put the prices up for exhibitions at hotels because you then get into the wedding season. And then you're fighting for the space. So we're just pre-wedding, which was quite useful. And it's later than the February show, which means we have less chance of snow, ice, sleet, flooding, and all the other interesting weather patterns that we have these days. So we felt that, yes, placing it in the middle when Andrew and I were having our conversations and looking for a place. We obviously have to thank the Wakefield user group for actually coming to us and asking, would we like to do this? Just to put the pressure on us, of course. So, they have been very helpful. We've got Ruth here that's helped with the Wakefield Theatre for X number of years, but she's a very young lady, so it can't be too many. And we've also had Charles, who's a little bit at the other end, who's been always helping us. He goes to London, he goes to the Southwest, and he comes here. So for a non-exhibitor, you see Charles 3 times a year. Actually, let's give him a round of applause.
Oh, thank you for that.
Thank you, Charles. I appreciate it, even if we had to go through 3 mics to get here today. I'm sure we can do that at the end of the last one. So those were some of the reasons. And of course, the other, which is most important to myself, I think all of you will have seen my daughter who comes to the show, and she's really started to enjoy RISC OS as she's got older and more intelligent, not a child anymore. But she always enjoys coming with me, and it's great to have her here. But she's off to Canada. I think it's next weekend, a quick trip to America, which I think she's very brave to do. And she's also then going on to see her grandma, who's now in her 90s and still driving. But my brother looks after her. They keep a very good eye on her. But she's going to go and visit her grandma and go and do things in Canada by herself, and with her, she's taking a friend with her. But that meant we couldn't have it next weekend or the weekend after because she wouldn't be here. So this was the weekend. So that's why it's the 29th of March, is mainly because my daughter couldn't make the show otherwise. So thank you ever so much for fitting it all into your schedules and your calendars. And Andrew and I really, really do appreciate seeing your lovely shiny faces every year coming to complain to us about why this doesn't work. No, you know what I mean. It really is great to see you all. And thank you so much for coming. And there we go. We've done half an hour. Next year, I promise, I'll be more organised, and hopefully we'll have some more techie things to say and to show to you. Thank you ever so much.